The Real Estate Story with Adrian Gutierrez.
Welcome to The Real Estate Story. I'm Adrian Gutierrez, your host. The Real Estate Story is an insight into our industry through real life stories. With a combination of special industry guests, our team and my personal past experiences will bring you weekly stories and insights. We hope some of our stories will put a smile on your face, but all the stories and experiences, importantly, leave you with greater knowledge of the real estate and property industries. Well, welcome to the Real Estate Story, everybody. Thank you for joining us on the second episode here live on Facebook Live, as well as the recording through our podcast, which is available through all major podcast channels. Thanks for joining us. Adrian Gutierrez is my name, as per the introduction, and I'm delighted to have you all here once again. It's been a really interesting 7 days since our first recording, and getting some feedback from everybody has been wonderful, and I'm delighted to see all the Facebook views, all the Facebook Live views, as well as some wonderful comments. So thank you all very much, those that have come through to me directly and those that have also come through the appropriate social media channels. Let's get on with our second episode. I'm really excited today to have someone that I've known for some years now, and someone very special in the community that's responsible for some lovely properties and buildings across the inner west, and that said, across Victoria, I think in some cases. I'd love to welcome Irena Lobaza from Lobaza. Irena, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Adrian. How are you?
Yeah, wonderful. Thanks for joining me, Irena. I know I put you on the spot when I asked you, and you were probably thinking, hang on a second, you want to get me on some podcast, aren't you, a real estate agent? But I really appreciate you taking the time and joining us.
As long as we don't have to talk about COVID, I'm absolutely fine with that.
It's not my intentions at all to talk about COVID-19 with you at all. Bassett Lobaza has been an architectural firm in the inner west. Tell us a little bit about the story of Bassett Lobaza.
Oh, okay. Gosh, I graduated and worked for a year. Clarendon Crown Architects, and Hugh Bassett was also working there. And at the end of that year, we both lived in Narrabul, independent lives, but we decided to form a partnership in architecture. So Hugh was 8 years more experienced than I, what you know, a year out. But very keen to get into our own business. And at that point, we had no work in the West. Everything was in Brighton or Hampton or Carlton, Kew or whatever. And slowly over the years, we managed to build up a nice practice. So that was way back in 1983.
1983, does that make it just over 30 years?
37.
37, there you go. 37 years, goodness, you look so good for someone that's been in business that long.
Well, yes, and currently, so Hugh retired almost 4 years ago now. So I'm the sole director, and I've got 5 architects working with me. And I have to say, 95% of our work is inner west.
Yeah, and certainly we see a lot of your signs, your designs, your architecture in the inner west quite frequently, and I thought with the real estate story it's important that we connect with the community that are actively either building, renovating, looking at doing extensions across the city of Hobson's Bay, across the city of Maribyrnong, and I know you're very active in those areas. When you're meeting clients and engaging with clients, what are one of the most important things to discuss with them when you first meet them? I'm curious. I've been a client, you know that, but I'd love to hear what's really most important to you as the architect.
Oh, okay. I guess the reality of the site is perhaps the most important, because we don't do dreams, we do things that actually have to be constructed. So normally when I have a new client, they'll contact us by telephone and I'll ask for the property address, and even before I meet them the first time, I'll be very familiar with the property, glean a lot of information from realestate.com. I can get a plan there, things like Nearmap and Google, we use street views, site information. I almost like to download the sewer plan. This is a message, if you learn nothing from hearing me today, never buy a property without knowing what the sewer plan is, okay? And so we have that basic information, so by the time I go out and meet with a client on site, And I already had some idea of what their articles had spoken about that. And so the very first thing I do on site is take a walk around myself. You know, is there on-site parking? If there isn't, you can pay a lot more for the building construction. Is there anything you really need to worry about? If that tower is facing south, they're going to be visited. If neighbours think that are too close, all of those sorts of things. What condition is the building in if we're renovating? Can we demolish? What are the overlays? Are we in a flat zone? Are we in a heritage overlay? All of those things. So, and then you finally get to meet with the client. And I've got to say, mostly at the first meeting, I think it's about getting to know each other and their attitude rather than the absolute detail.
Building a relationship, I'm sure.
Building a relationship, yeah. Just finding out a bit more about the client and that. So, I was with the chatterbox, I was talking, also like giving advice. You know, every opportunity I've got to do that, I do that. You can do my ability first because I have to start behaving myself. And at that point, then I'm able to quote the client, however it is doing the planning or run land survey, what's their budget, those sorts of things. And if they're happy with the quote, then we get right into the nitty-gritty, you know, of how they really like things to work.
Irena, let me ask, when we work predominantly in two municipalities, I say we because our businesses cross in similar areas that yours does, and the City of Maribyrnong versus the City of Hobsons Bay, how honest can you be? Do you react differently when the client says my property's in Hobsons Bay or the property's in Maribyrnong?
If it's within the heritage overlay, certainly. They are, I have to say, Hobsons Bay, or in my opinion, is one of the more conservative as far as heritage guidelines go. And that we might be critical of that. On the other hand, I have to say, over the years, Williamstown still looks very much like Williamstown. And it's been hard work for council, believe me, a lot of people don't like it. But you do know, if you're in a heritage precinct, it's pretty much going to look like that. Nothing with a block flats or, a modern brick beneath next to you, as you do in many of the suburbs without an overlay. We find in Maribyrnong, generally they just ask us to keep the first two rooms of a heritage, especially with the heritage building. And then we can start our two-storey work, and they like us to be quite modern. In fact, if I do things with pitched roofs, two-storey pitched roofs like in Maribyrnong, they're often quite critical to me saying, why don't you do something modern? Or should I do something modern in Hobsons? So they're quite critical to do saying that's a bit modern because we have the pitched roof. So, they're quite ways of working.
Certainly from a real estate point of view, we hear that all the time, that different councils have different challenges, and we get it, we respect that, and certainly it's nice to hear you say that Williamstown still looks like Williamstown, and Maribyrnong's got a bit of spunk about it, which is great in some of those style and designs. And of course, when I say Maribyrnong for our listeners, I'm in the City of Maribyrnong, which covers Yarraville, 7 Footscray, right through to Maribyrnong. But I want to
look at. Go on.
No, please.
No, I was just going to say it's. I don't think there are too many architects that have been doing as much work in heritage areas as I have. I'm not an official heritage architect, we've been doing a lot of work, but I've a huge amount of experience there. And sometimes I do agree to disagree with council's heritage architects, but by and large, I'll only do that on rare occasions. I think you do rely on them for support. But occasionally, when I really feel that I'm right and you're wrong, we will take it on. But that might be once every 4 or 5 years.
Irena,
it can be a critical game.
Talking about taking it on, have you ever met a client with an unusual brief? Can you tell us about it?
I have. I was thinking about this one, and I thought, well, a few of the ones that have been really unusual. I just won't go public with that. It's too close. But
that's great.
The one I'm happy to talk about. I was about 3 years ago. We were asked to do a trophy room for a new client.
Yes.
Lovely couple, but he'd been to South Africa, bagged a load of antelopes heads, tumba, that kind of thing, and so we proceeded to do it a 3-story addition, fixing up the rest of the house, and at the very top incorporating, this trophy with exposed truss work, timber line ceiling. We had to do pictures where all the heads would go, the gun tray, the pot with the stove, TV, a man's paradise. So I had people say, well, how can you know, it's killing, it's hunting. That was a bit confronting, but, traditionally the hunter in society was an honourable figure. It's perhaps now that we don't have to hunt to live, that we have a different attitude, but I suspect all of it was legal. And we stayed friends, they're a lovely couple. I think if he'd been what they call him, a redneck, I would have thought twice about it. But, that's such a gorgeous couple.
Yeah, that's certainly very interesting. Tell me, have you ever built or designed an escape room? Somewhere, do they call them escape rooms, somewhere they'd lock themselves up and hide from a predator or someone trespassing? I just thought that through. I'm not sure if that even exists actually. Maybe only in the movies.
No, I haven't.
No. Now, talking about design, now I think when we look at the architecture, it would appear that every architect's got their own little unique design. You can look at a property and say, I reckon that's a Bassett and Lobaza design. This may be a silly question, but I need to ask it. Is that on purpose? Do you have that style amongst your team through the coaching and learning that you do, and your team take that on board, and then that's consistent for designs and styles for many years to come?
It's hard to know. I don't think that I've got a style, but you obviously think I do.
I think you do.
Right, yeah. Okay, so the way we work, so I have 5 architects working with me. I've got Sarah who's been with me the longest. In fact, she's never worked anywhere else. So, and I'd have to say she kind of officially runs the place now. And but I've got Carly who's very experienced, and Alice, and so these 3 work quite independently. So what I find, I've got them 2 younger architects, and obviously we're training them up. But it does take a while until you can get into that free design. But what I like to think of is that I've gone out, met the client, we've gone through that initial design process. I don't always do that preliminary design work, often it's the others. But where I've done it, at the point where it then has to be developed on CAD, well, I step back because I can't do CAD work. And one of the architects will take over and, we'll introduce to what the client's like and all the rest of it. And they essentially run the project from there. And often a meeting will be arranged, I want to know about it, and I think, I should be involved. But the client's very happy, or I come along to the meeting, I make tea, coffee, and the client's just talking one-on-one about the car around sort of whatever Franciscan, And I think, well, that's a success in itself, isn't it? The client's got any confidence, in the active that they're dealing with. But I like to think that they're also developing. I do have to like everything that goes out of the office, but not everything is the way I want to do it. So I would have thought there's a little bit more freedom, but maybe we haven't developed a style and we haven't put the stuff to be within that.
I would think if what I say is corrected, then I would say be very proud of it, because it's certainly something that is appealing. So well done to you. Credit to you, and what you're saying is a credit to all your team. So well done to all of them. Can I ask, Irena, with style and design and material, so question 2 parts. What's changed most in designing homes in the last 30 years, or 10 years if you want to? And materials. Obviously, we see less and less weatherboard, we see more and more metal. That's what I see as an estate agent. What do you see as an architect? Where are the big changes?
Oh, okay. As far as designing goes, I think the biggest change has been that we now design 6-star. It matters, the energy that is used and how you design, with, access to north light and, saving energy and that kind of thing. Whereas when I graduated, actually at uni, I spent a whole year on solar energy. We're going back 40 years now. I love the stuff. And the mechanical engineering department said, once you come aboard, become a solar energy expert, don't do architecture, and I was college. And I've already given engineering in the I didn't want to go back there. But when I graduated, if I spoke to clients and said, would you like some solar power? Or can we have less window here so that you're not using so much? Don't look at me like I was talking cane and bleachers, go back to the heat plant, And so for a good 10, 20 years, nobody was interested. And you would just design these big community buildings with lots of grass and huge volumes and, whatever. But certainly in this last 10, 15 year period, it's become increasingly more environmental. And that certainly does influence how you design a building.
Things have really changed with that, and you can see that.
In that respect.
Yeah, really.
But I have to say, in terms of materials we're using by and large have always been around. I think the only absolute new one, but it's fine. You have your placing all that foam cladding on the second level of the two-story house up to about 20 years ago, which shocks most people. But it's still allowed on residential work. It's a good solution because it doesn't crack. But I'd say we certainly use a lot more metal than we used to. And certainly polished concrete just wasn't the thing, around I thought around 20 years ago. And I'd have to say what the other major thing is, aluminium doors and windows. Certainly, people use pretty much the same timber. But I'd say it's more the use of materials rather than the changing materials. And of course, we have alternatives for timber decking, the fibre boards, and we can use a lot more products like timber as well, which are pre-finished fibre boards for outside cladding that doesn't need maintenance either. But they're not radical shifts from what we used to use them. So I think it's just people prefer a more modern palette. The other thing I've that has changed over the years, they have been around long enough so that when I had to paint the fence on my first house, I had to get the paint spots over there around to actually make up big Brunswick green so that you couldn't buy it off the shelf. Okay? And then all of that.
Brunswick green, you couldn't buy Brunswick green.
You couldn't buy Brunswick green, you had to give them National Trust formula, they'd make it for you.
Oh, goodness.
Okay, I'm sounding really old now. And then there was a period where all you could buy was Brunswick green and cream, and we found, for about a 10-year period, most clients, if they had a Victorian or company, by the way, you did the addition very much in sympathy with that. So we were very good at detailing and panel doors, exquisite furniture design, that kind of thing. And then about 20 years ago, they just threw out the door. Very few people do that now. Most of they're super modern or timelessly classical. So,
yeah, things have certainly changed there, certainly with the colours, and we don't see a lot of that Brunswick green any longer. I don't think, not here in the inner west anyway. It's probably a good thing. Yeah, it is a great thing. Irena, I think you've given us a great insight into your firm. 15 minutes well spent, and give us an insight into what Bassett Lobaza are doing. Ben Allen, it's been great to have you on the show. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you to all your team. I know you've helped me. I know you've helped many of my clients through the years, and it's great to have you on board. And I'm sure that we look forward to many.
Well, you helped me, Adrian. Thank you for being such a real estate agent.
It's our pleasure, but thank you so much for joining us on the Real Estate Story. I really appreciate it, and we will say goodbye to you and look forward to catching up with you soon. Thanks, Irena.
Lovely. Thank you, Adrian. Bye.
Are you on the move with a smartphone in hand? Go to comptongreen.com.au and our mobile-friendly website will make it easy to find the latest listings for sale and rent in the Inner West.
Well, there we have it. There's our story from Irena, and today I'm now going to move on to our real estate story of the day. Now, I had pre-recorded this story, but I've made the decision to read it out to you live today, which is great. This is a story that dates back some years, and I'm afraid a few of my stories do date back a few years, but this is one that travels well over a decade. This started 20 years ago when I was walking down Toorak Road. At the time, I worked for the corporate team at Ray White, and our office was there in the Como building. I was walking down Toorak Road, turning just opposite our office, and I came across Golf Gallery, and there was the most beautiful piece of artwork in the front window of the gallery. I fell in love with it, and I decided, I got a glimpse of the price, and I realised that certainly wasn't in my league, but I decided when I could, I would go back and buy that painting. I then, about 3 years later, through my travels, dropped past the Golf Gallery and walked in and said, look, you had this beautiful, very bright coloured painting in the front window. I gave a description. It was an outback scene, and I described it to them and said, I'd really love to buy that painting. Is it still available? And they said, look, it wouldn't be if it was there 3 years ago, but we think we know who you're talking about, and come with us, come out the back. So they took me out the back upstairs, through into the painting rack, and they pulled out a series of paintings. And of course, one of them was exactly the painting that I'd spoken about. When I say exactly, it wasn't the one, but it was most certainly the artist, and it stood out very, very clearly. It was a Ben Shearer painting, it was a watercolour, and the painting that he pulled out was called the Birdsville Track. I then just knew that I'd done it, and I did, and I fell in love with it, and it sits proudly in our home to this very day. But as a result of buying that painting, and I'm no art collector, I don't want to appear that I am, but that is one painting that I am very proud of, that about 3 years later, whilst I received their mailing list over the years, I received an email in regards to a new exhibition they had coming up. And it was a very interesting exhibition that came up, and it came out at a time when my oldest daughter was born, Pearl. And this exhibition that I saw there, the catalogue for, the feature painting on the front of the cover was for the Pearl restaurant that was in Richmond. And I thought to myself, my ego got the better of me, and I thought, wow, I need to own that painting, the painting of Pearl, because my daughter Pearl had been born. Quirky, weird, I know, but I just thought that was the thing I needed to do. So I rang the gallery and I said, look, you've got the painting of Pearl, I'd really like to own it because I've got a daughter called Pearl, and I thought that was pretty cool. And they said, look, you can't buy it. First we offer it to the restaurant, then we offer it to the head chef, and if they buy it, well, it's not available. And in this case, the painting wasn't available. So I was disappointed, and I said, wow, I really wish I could have bought something like that. And they said, why don't you come in? We've got a series of watercolours in the gallery, and there may be one similar that might catch your eye. So I did. I'm a sucker for a good story, and I was just building one at the time, building a good story that was. So I went into the gallery some weeks later, and they pulled out the big artwork folder and started flipping through all the bits of artwork there as a result of that particular exhibition. The artist was Jeff Martin, and as I was flicking through, most of them didn't interest me whatsoever. But then I came across one painting, a watercolour, that I knew within half a second I needed to own. It was a painting about 600mm wide and about 1 metre tall, and it was a painting of a bell. And for the sake of this story, it looks like an auction bell. So I said to him, without a thought, I'll take it. And to this very day, that auction bell painting sits proudly in my home, one that I absolutely adore, because it has so many meanings to me. Because not only is it an auction bell, but it's the auction bell, the food service bell from Grossi Florentino's in Burke Street, Melbourne. A restaurant, it's quite possibly, arguably, one of the finest restaurants in the country, one of the finest restaurants most certainly in Victoria, Italian cuisine, I'm Italian by heritage, so there were many meanings to me on why I needed to own this bell. Some years later, I just happened to be a guest at a lunch at Grossi Florentino's. This story is now going back about 7 years from today. I'm sitting there at lunch, and we're downstairs in the more affordable section of Grossi Florentino's, and it came to that moment at the lunch where someone went to the bathroom, someone went out front to grab a phone call, and I grabbed the waitress and I said, could I see the food service bell, please? I own the painting of it. And she looked at me like I was odd. And she said, what do you mean? I said, well, you've got a food service bell, you know, the bell you ring when the food's ready. Well, I've got the painting of that, and I just thought I could see the real thing. And she said, I don't know what you mean. So she went away doing her duties. And the next thing you know, she then came back and said, look, come with me. I'll take you somewhere that we might be able to find the bell. So, long and behold, we went upstairs, and straight into the kitchen, there would have been at least 20 chefs around the kitchen, and everybody yelled out buongiorno, and lo and behold, there's Guy Grossi behind the stove. And I went up to Guy, and nice to meet you, Adrian, Guy, so on, and I said, Guy, I just wanted to see the food service bell. And I was hoping that I'd take a photo of it, have a look at it, because I own the painting of it. And he said to me, look, Adrian, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but in fact, the food service bell, it doesn't exist anymore. We now use different technology, and that's something we used to use, in fact, some time ago. I said, oh, well, what a shame. That was, I was pleased to meet you anyway, and it was nice to ask. And he said, look, just give me a moment. And he went away, and he went into his office. And he came back moments later, and you wouldn't believe it. What did he have in his hand? He had the bell. The bell stands about 300 mil high. It looks like an auction bell. It doesn't have as big a ringer on it, if I can call it that, the dinger. But it certainly was the bell that I had the painting of. And I said, wow, that's so cool. And I got a photo with me and Guy and the bell. And the story was still starting to come together. And I thought, what a wonderful outcome. And then Guy said to me, Adrian, I want you to have the bell. I said, no, I can't take your bell, Guy. He said, no, I want you to have the bell. And the bell was engraved to Guy Grossi. It was a gift to him once upon a time. He said, no, I want you to take the bell, Adrian. It means a lot to you. It means a lot to me, but I want you to send it on a journey. I want you to take it, enjoy it, and think of me when you look at it and think of our restaurant. I couldn't believe it. I felt certainly reluctant to take it, but I did take it. And I can tell you to this very day, that bell stands proud right next to the painting. Very important for me for so many reasons. Not only as a master auctioneer, but as someone that loves their food, loves to cook, and especially loves to eat it.
Have you used the Keep Me Posted button on our website? Just click Keep Me Posted and fill in your requirements, and you'll automatically receive all our up-to-date listings as they appear.
Well, there we have it. Now, I'm hoping we've got Gerard Hannan on the line. You there, Gerard?
Okay, you're on here, thank you.
Well, there we go. I love it when technology comes together. Now, we are just before we conclude today's podcast, I just wanted to quickly touch on the Inner West. Gerard, you're one of our senior salespeople out of our West Footscray office, our Inner West office there. And I just thought I'd just quickly touch base about a couple of properties you've got for sale, what's going on in the market out there, and a quick insight into that current activity. So, Gerard, firstly, how long have you been in real estate with us?
Something very 4 years now, I think it's in total.
Time flies when you're having fun.
I don't know.
You'd have to be the only auctioneer I know that can get away with wearing white runners at an auction, but for all those viewers out there that are listening to this, Gerard pulls it off. That's all I can say. You seem to pull it off.
I think one better, but
Yeah, that's yet to be decided. Now you're pretty busy at the moment. I quickly want to ask you. You've got a bit of stock on the moment. You're talking to a few people. Obviously, we're in the midst of COVID-19. There are a few challenges and obstacles. It's not perfect. It's not booming, but we're busy. Tell us what you're selling at the moment. Perhaps give us a snapshot on one, and tell us what the buyers are saying, please.
yeah, I mean, again, obviously, transaction is still happening. I think before joining you here today, we signed up another offer on the property. So I've got a townhouse in Braybrook that's going at the moment, 3-flat, 5A Vine Street. The 3-bed, 2-bath, going out, set 4 years old with double-car garage. We're looking at, between 575 to, in the early 6s. And so we've got multiple buyers on that now. It is scheduled for an online auction next Wednesday.
What sort of buyer, Gerard? What sort of buyer is buying that? Who are they?
Good question. My two buyers at the moment, they're very different. One is an older lady looking at buying her first home. She's renting in my Footscray. This will be her first property. And another one is a younger gentleman from the other side of town, also looking at buying his first home as well. And so, different demographics in terms of age, but both first-time buyers. So, yeah.
How are you going with all the private inspections that we're having conducted? Obviously, no open homes at the moment because of COVID-19. Private inspections, keeping you on your toes. How's it working for you?
Yeah, I love it. So, again, it actually gives you more time to sort of, I think, speak to the buyers and what they're after, get to know the buyers a bit more. But it's really about being organised, and I talk to the fact that, if you're affected with a buyer that's probably to pay versus 6 weeks ago, I mean, if someone's out there looking at buying, a serious buyer, they're ready to roll. There's some motivation there. So I'm from the fact that the people we're dealing with at the moment, they truly want to buy something.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Buyers are putting in more effort to connect with us. We're putting in more effort when we're with them, and it just gives everybody that elevated confidence. We're together, we're more engaging. I'm getting that feeling, I'm getting that sense. I've got one property, I've got 9 private inspections on Saturday, and I can't remember the last time I did 9 private inspections, to be brutally honest. But it's our new real life, and it certainly feels good. So it should be a good outcome at the end of that one. And if you could get a particular property for sale at the moment, because I know you're working with a lot of buyers closely, and you out of our team work really well with a lot of buyers, what do you wish you could have more of right now? Stock, I mean.
Period hard to find the village. You know, regardless of the market, always going to be popular. I've got people, you know, still dying with flights, still front or double front, within walking distance to a cafe or a inspection. I mean, that hasn't come, I didn't go to today. So, if I could have 2, 5, 10 more of those, I'd be very confident for all of it.
Yeah, when Gerard says the village, he means the Yarraville village for our listeners. But yeah, look, isn't it funny? The cliche location just does not change in a lot of our core inner west suburbs. Gerard, I know I've interrupted you in the midst of signing up an offer, so I'm going to say thank you very, very much for being part of our episode 2. Thanks, Gerard.
Thank you, feedback.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings an end to our episode 2. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us.
The Real Estate Story brought to you by Compton Green.
Thanks, everybody.